Most people know the park for its outstanding natural features: the Great Stone Door, the Fiery Gizzard, Foster Falls, the Swanee Natural Bridge, and much, much more. But there's a whole other side to the story of the South Cumberlands, a rich and fascinating history of the interaction of people with the land, an interaction going back literally thousands of years to the first Native Americans who hunted and camped on these lands. More recently, it's been a story of European settlers who saw the rich natural resources of the area as a way to make a living by harvesting timber, extracting coal, and even making moonshine using the crystal clear and pure waters of its streams. By the mid-20th century, however, visionary local leaders saw that this land had even greater geological, biological, and recreational significance, and was deserving of being preserved in its natural state for everyone to enjoy, now and for generations to come. And so it was that in 1971, Tennessee Governor Winfield Dunn came to the South Cumberlands and saw the rugged beauty of Savage Gulf firsthand. What he experienced moved him to advocate for funding to acquire the most outstanding parts of the South Cumberlands and create the park we all know and enjoy today. The stories of all these people form the rich history of South Cumberland State Park. And now, the Friends of South Cumberland have put together a series of adventures that will allow you to hike into history as you visit some of the most unique and intriguing places where history comes to life in the park. These hiking challenges will take you to some of the most beautiful and amazing parts of the park where, if you look carefully, you'll see evidence of the activities of all these people from history. The Discovery Series features 8 easy to moderate, family-friendly, self-guided hikes throughout the park to some of the most intriguing and spectacular places where history was made. The natural history of the South Cumberlands takes you to some of the most spectacular places in the park. You'll traverse the breathtaking rock amphitheater at Cedar Falls, cross Fall Creek, and make your way down out of the sandstone cap that protects the Cumberland Plateau, through the shale layer, and finally to the limestone layers below. There, you'll come to Horsepound Falls, and one of the many caves the water has carved out of the softer limestone. Along the way, you'll see a plethora of wildflowers in the springtime. Native Americans in the South Cumberlands takes you to the mouth of Buggy Top Cave in the Carter State Natural Area, one of the largest natural cave openings in Tennessee. Along the way, you'll come to the top of the Spur, look down into Buggy Top Cove, and pass a giant sinkhole. Buggy Top Cave is actually part of an extensive cave network in this area, and on this trek, you'll visit a second cave entrance, Peter Cave, which is known to have been frequented by Native American hunter-gatherers for many centuries. Please remember that the interior of the cave is off-limits due to the potential for introducing white-nosed bat syndrome into the cave's bat population. On the Pioneers of the South Cumberlands route, you'll get a glimpse of what life was like for the earliest European settlers in this area. Several historic cabins have been preserved in the park, the most notable of which is the Decatur Savage Cabin, named for the man whose family gave its name to Savage Gulf. Decatur Savage and his wife, Fanny Tate, farmed and lived in the bottom of Savage Gulf for many years. The Savage family can trace its presence in the Gulf back as far as 1719, when Robert Savage obtained some 250 acres in the area. In the bottom of Savage Gulf, the observant hiker can also see remnants of early logging operations, the old Savage Gulf schoolhouse, and other long-abandoned signs of early European settlement. The timber industry was an important part of the South Cumberland economy for many decades. In the deep valleys, well watered by year-round streams, trees grew to impressive size. Unfortunately, most of the original old-growth timber was harvested. What you see today in much of the park is secondary regrowth, dating from the early and mid-1900s. On the old-growth forests of the South Cumberland's hike, however, you'll be able to catch a glimpse of some of the few areas untouched by the lumberman's saw. One such location is the grove of shortleaf pines on the north rim of Savage Creek, where red-cockaded woodpeckers, now endangered, once nested. In the gorge below, the Werner Big Timber Tract is one of the largest old-growth stands of virgin forest in the region. Named after Bud Werner, fourth-generation descendant of the Werner family, who emigrated here from Switzerland in the 1860s, and who made much of the land in the park available for purchase by the state of Tennessee in the 1970s. The Werner family, at one point, held over 15,000 acres of timber and operated a sawmill and railroad in the area between 1890 and the 1930s. Moonshining in the South Cumberlands takes you along the Grundy Day Loop to Schoolhouse Falls, once the site of a moonshine still. Stills were common in the South Cumberlands in the late 19th and early 20th centuries because this area was prized for its clear and pure water. Along the way, you'll also see the site of the Civilian Conservation Corps camp that was home to hundreds of young men who built much of the famed Fiery Gizzard Trail during the 1930s, as well as the foundation of the CCC's pump house at the base of Blue Hole Falls. Coal mining was, for a time, an important part of the economy of this region, from the 1870s until around 1920. Mining in the South Cumberlands takes you to the Grundy Lakes area of the park, where you can see remains of the beehive-shaped coke ovens, where coal was heated to produce coal coke, which was later used in blast furnaces to make iron and steel. On the Lone Rock Loop Trail, you'll also see depressions in the hillsides, the remains of many small, narrow mine shafts, called dog hole mines because of their small size. The discovery of coal gave rise to the appearance of railroads in this area, built primarily to bring the coal to market. Railroads in the South Cumberland will take you to one of these special purpose railroads, the Dinky Line, on the north rim of Savage Creek. This narrow gauge railway brought the coal, and later timber, out of Savage Gulf, over to Palmer, and on down to Tracy City, where it was transferred to the Mountain Goat Rail Line, part of which has now been converted to a walking and biking trail. As you walk along the Dinky Line, you can still see some of the old cross ties alongside the trail, which follows the original rail grade for about a mile. To celebrate the more recent history of the area, Following in the Steps of Governor Dunn commemorates the 45th anniversary of the visit by Tennessee's then governor to the South Cumberlands, after which he became a strong advocate for the creation of South Cumberland State Park. Dunn was invited by then state naturalist Mac Pritchard to come and stretch your legs in Savage Gulf. Dunn took him up on the idea, and along with a party of other state officials, toured the Gulf by jeep, horseback, and on foot. Your hike will take you on a portion of Dunn's journey, out to Rattlesnake Point, where you can take in the same forever wild views that so impressed the governor 45 years ago. As you enjoy hiking in the park, we hope you'll see the areas you visit in a different light as you join us on our hike into history.